Feel the bloody embrace.
An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
What up, humans? Karumi here, and welcome to the Mobile Legends Bootcamp. In this video, we are going to talk about the mage hero, Cecilion. Cecilion has a good set of area of effect, crowd control, and burst skills. Our Embrace of Night, Cecilion, is a mage hero. I consider Cecilion as a spammer mage since he can spam his first skill efficiently. Not only that, he has a special skill when allied with Carmilla. Now, let me share some tips and tricks on how to use Cecilion based on our experience. I will also teach you some combos and techniques on the latter part of this bootcamp. But before that, let me explain his skills one by one for further understanding. Cecilion's passive, Overflowing, lets Cecilion increase his maximum mana. Every time Cecilion hits an enemy target with his skills, his maximum mana will be increased. This passive skill has a short cooldown. Cecilion has higher max mana and mana regen speed. His skill's damage scales with his max mana. You can check the number of stacks you have on the status indicator below. Cecilion's first skill, Bat Impact, orders a giant bat to dive for the designated area. Enemies hit along the path will receive a certain amount of magic damage, depending on his magic power and maximum mana. The giant bat will stay at its destination and will launch another attack. This another attack deals a greater amount of magic damage to enemies in the area, and triggering his passive skill once again. After casting, Cecilion increases his movement speed for a short period. Within a time frame every time this skill is casted, the mana cost will be increased massively by a certain percentage and stacks up to 4 times.
We both know there is no
Cecilion's second skill, Sanguine Clause, lets Cecilion summon a pair of claws in a designated area. Upon casting, these claws will munch the targets in between them. Enemies hit along the path will have their movement speed reduced.
And pale is the moonlight.
After a short delay, enemies within the area will be pulled to the center of the area of effect. They will also be immobilized for a short period and will receive a certain amount of magic damage, depending on his magic power and maximum mana. Cecilion's ultimate skill, Bat's Feast, lets Cecilion unleash his blood demon power. Upon using this skill, Cecilion will increase his movement speed that decays over time. Also, he will be immune to slowing effects. Along with that, he shoots bolts of blood energy to the enemies nearby. Each bolt will deal a certain amount of magic damage depending on his magic power and maximum mana. Enemies hit will also have their movement speed reduced, which stacks up to a certain amount. Lastly, hitting an enemy with this skill will heal him for a certain amount of health depending on his magic power and health points lost.
But a curse.
Cecilion's special skill, Moonlight Waltz, is only available when you have Carmilla on your team. When Carmilla is nearby, there's a red link in between these lovers. Upon clicking, Cecilion will call Carmilla to become a shadow to possess him. The possession will provide a certain amount of shield to Cecilion. Carmilla can select a target place where she can land and gains a shield. Her landing will deal certain amount of magic damage to the enemies in the area of landing. The enemies will also have their move speed reduced. There are so many items that you can buy for Cecilion. You can focus on items that grants magic power, additional magic damage, mana regeneration, and items that deals extra true damage. You can actually consider the Ain't Patient build. if you can't control yourself from spamming your first skill and not considering mana consumption. You can also consider the Kill Me Not build if you want to prioritize your survival instead of focusing on burst damage. But let's talk about the Kurumi way further. As for starting item, you can consider buying Demon Shoes. Demon Shoes grants mana regeneration and movement speed. Its unique passive regenerates your mana upon eliminating minions. It also regenerates your mana upon killing an enemy hero or assisting an ally. So it's best to focus your first skill on gaining last hits to abuse this item. You might want to consider Calamity Reaper. This item grants magic power, mana regen, and cooldown reduction. Its unique passive grants you movement speed, and additional true damage on your next basic attack after using a skill. This unique passive has a short cooldown. This is pretty helpful since you can spam your first skill freely, making your basic attacks fueled with true damage. Buying magic items, such as Lightning Truncheon, will help you deal more burst damage. This item gives you magic power, mana, and cooldown reduction. Its unique passive will deal magic damage to your target and 2 other enemies when you use a skill. This item's damage depends on your maximum mana. This unique passive has a short cooldown. This item will be pretty much perfect for Cecilion since its damage depends on your max mana. You can consider buying Ice Queen Wand. This item gives additional magic power, magical lifesteal, mana, and movement speed. Its unique passive lets you slow down an enemy when your skill hits them. The slowing effect lasts for a few seconds and stacks up to 2 times. You also might want to consider Glowing Wand. This item grants magic power, health points, and movement speed. Its unique passive lets the enemy target hit by your skill be burned per second, depending on the target's maximum health points. Lastly, you might want to consider Blood Wings. This item grants magic power and health points. Its unique passive grant you additional health points for every magic power added to your stats. The item build for Cecilion really depends on the enemy's lineup, so make sure to read each item's description so you can adapt in-game. One of the best spells to be used on Cecilion is Flame Shot. Using this spell will knock back enemies, it reduce their movement speed, and will deal certain amount of magic damage. This will be helpful especially when enemies try approaching you. You can also consider Sprint. This grants you additional movement speed which decays over time. This reduces your time controlled and make you immune from slowing effects for a short period. This is really helpful to chase enemies or escape death. In my opinion, the best emblem set to be used on Cecilion is the Custom Mage Emblem set. Custom Mage Emblem could provide extra stats according to your needs as a burst magic damager. Set agility to its max level because it can give you additional movement speed. Higher movement speed means higher chance to chase enemies or escape death. Setting observation to its max level will provide additional magic penetration on your skills. Higher magic penetration deals higher magic damage to enemies. That means your skills will be more explosive. Get Impure Rage to deal extra damage depending on the enemy's current HP. Impure Rage also restores your mana. For me, it's the best thing to get since Impure Rage has only 5 seconds cooldown. This makes his skills more powerful with Impure Rage since it has low cooldown. The mana restored by Impure Rage helps you to avoid buying items with high mana regen. Set first skill to max level first. Prioritizing this makes the damage higher. That means you can deal more damage to the target with this skill. Prioritize second skill less since his first skill is what you need for continuous burst damage. Always upgrade his ultimate skill when available for upgrading. Cecilion's passive skill is what you need to increase your maximum mana. Every time your skills hit, it will add certain points of mana to Cecilion. The amount may vary depending on Muntun's future updates. Anyway, it doesn't matter how many enemies were hit by a skill. This passive only considers if a skill released hits an enemy. So if it hits an enemy no matter how many enemies were hit, then 1 count for your passive is added to your stack. For his first skill, it adds 2 stacks since it deals 2 damage instances. For his second skill, it only adds 1 stack since it deals 1 damage instance. For his ultimate skill, it adds a stack every time a bolt hits a target. But take note that your passive skill has a cooldown, so you can only add a few stacks from your ultimate because of this. Cecilion's first skill is what you need to deal massive area of effect damage to enemies. With the ability to use this skill as soon as possible, you can spam this skill to hurt enemies even more. Having a low cooldown will help you obtain more stacks of your passive skill. Just be aware that the more you use this skill successively, the more mana it will consume. Depending on your build, you can go trigger happy if you go for items with high mana regen. The Kurumi way is to use this skill only twice in a row when harassing enemies, while making sure we get the last hits from minions as much as possible. Getting the last hit will abuse the Demon Shoes passive of regenerating your mana per kill. This is to ensure that we still have a decent amount of mana needed for sudden team fights. You can go trigger happy when it comes to team fights as long as you have mana. This skill hurts best when the enemies are hit by the giant bat. So make sure to keep your distance from your targets to reach this skill's full potential. This skill has a really long range. You can easily be chase escaping enemies with this skill's range. Cecilion's second skill is what you need to crowd control enemies. With the ability to pull them towards the center and immobilize them afterwards, this is really a great skill to delay their escape from your wrath. The pull and immobilize can really help you focus more of your skills towards the target. Just imagine if you were able to pull the whole enemy team with your second skill. That's kind of a wishful thinking, but nothing is impossible when you believe. Cecilion's ultimate skill is what you need to deal burst damage to enemies nearby. You might notice that his first and second skill requires enemies to be far from Cecilion to be efficiently hit. Well, how will Cecilion gonna fight on close range combat? This is where your ultimate skill comes in handy. The bolts from your ultimate skill will hit the nearby target. The damage from this skill might not look burst, but when every bolts hit a single enemy, adding it up will probably hurt the enemy more than 50% of the target's health. Not only it hurts them, it also heals you as well. So if ever you get ganked by enemy heroes, this skill can help you survive their wrath. Now let's talk about his special skill with Carmilla. This special skill is only available when Carmilla is nearby. You will know that she is within your range when there is a red link in between you two. Upon clicking this skill, this will make Carmilla possess Cecilion by force. Carmilla won't have any other choice but to be inside Cecilion. On this possession state, Carmilla can only cast a skill. This skill will make her dash towards the specified direction and will grant her a shield. Enemies hit will receive certain amount of magic damage. This is pretty helpful in team fights since Cecilion can save Carmilla by letting her possess him. Also, Cecilion receives a shield which can also save him in team fights. Well, if you see Carmilla killing the turtle or jungle buff monster, you can use this skill to let her possess you while you take the last hit. But raw dick is not a bad rabbit, so never ever do that to Carmilla, okay? I don't know why raw dick included this tip in the first place though. But here he goes stealing buff from another lab rat. Bad rabbit indeed. Here we go again with our experiments. This time, along with our favorite lab rat, Raki, we also have our guest lab rats to demonstrate with us Sicilian Skills, along with his combo with Carmilla. First, let's focus on Sicilian Skills. We have Lolita as our foe. We all know that most of Sicilian's skills are projectiles. Let's try if Lolita will be able to block our first skill. As you can see, she wasn't able to block the giant bat. Probably because it's flying above her. That's our observation though. Now, let's have Cecilion's ultimate skill. As you can see, Lolita was able to block all the bolts while her shield is up. That makes Lolita one of the counters for Cecilion's ultimate skill. Now, let's have Baxia. Baxia's passive blocks some of the damage from his enemies. Let's see what will happen with our ultimate skill. Well, as you can see, the bolts are tickling Baxia. It's like his regeneration rate is higher than the damage we are dealing to him. Also, Baxia can reduce the enemy's regeneration rate with his skills. So therefore, Cecilion's regeneration on his ultimate skill will be affected as well. In short, Baxia is another tank to avoid when using Cecilion's ultimate skill. Now, let's proceed testing his synergy with Carmilla. Cecilion can cast the Moonlight Waltz to let Carmilla possess him by force. We have Johnson here to test if both Carmilla and I can ride with him with his ultimate skill. First, let's check if Cecilion has a ticket to ride Johnson. As you can see, he was able to ride Johnson alone. Now how about when Carmilla possesses Cecilion? As you can see, Cecilion is banned from riding Johnson with Carmilla. Too bad Johnson can't crash these lovers towards a wall out of jealousy. And as you can see, Carmilla suddenly became invisible from the map. We can say that this is either a bug, or probably because Carmilla is just looking at the mirror. Next, let's have Angela. Let's see if the both of them can possess me at the same time. As you can see, Angela was able to possess me along with Carmilla inside me. This is Cecilion being a two-timer. This is not a good example for this incoming Valentine's Day. Next, let's check if what will happen to Carmilla when Cecilion dies. As you can see, Carmilla was suddenly dropped out from Cecilion's body. Next, we have Hayabusa's ultimate skill. Let's check what will happen if we recall Carmilla while Hayabusa is beating her with his ultimate skill. As you can see, Hayabusa followed Carmilla and transferred his ultimate skill to us instead. This is pretty scary to do since Hayabusa could have killed us if we don't have enough health. Let's check if Carmilla ejects from us when Hayabusa's ultimate skill transfers to us. As you can see, Carmilla left us in the dark with Hayabusa's ultimate skill. I hope your Carmilla in real life doesn't leave you in agonizing pain this Valentine's Day. Next, we have 1-1. Let's see if 1-1 will still follow Carmilla with her ultimate skill. As you can see, she is still shooting Carmilla even if she is already inside us. The good thing is, those were just animations and Carmilla didn't receive any damage from it. How about if Carmilla ejects earlier from us? As you can see, 1-1's ultimate skill continued damaging Carmilla as soon as she got R from us. So if 1-1 uses her ultimate on Carmilla, better tell Carmilla not to get out yet until 1-1's ultimate is over. Next, we have Saber. Let's see what will happen when Saber uses his ultimate skill while we recall Carmilla. As you can see, Saber was left by Carmilla in the air. This is what's gonna happen to some humans on Valentine's Day, to be left hanging. Next, we have Harley. Let's check if we can save Carmilla from Harley's ultimate skill. As you can see, with the right timing, we can save Carmilla from Harley's ultimate skill. Next, we have Kaja. Let's see if we can grab Carmilla from Kaja's chains of love. As you can see, we were able to save Carmilla from Kaja's ultimate skill. Now, you might be wondering with Franco as well. Last but not the least, we have our pro hooker, Rakuten. Let's check if we can take Carmilla away from Franco's loving arms. As you can see, we were able to take Carmilla away even if Franco was hugging her so tight. So we can therefore conclude that Cecilion is either a faithful lover or just a waifu stealer. In terms of his combo, you can do a simple combo with Cecilion. The combo will depend on the situation, but on most situations, we use this combo. First, we use our first skill to the target, with Ice Queen Wand. This will ensure that they will have their movement speed reduced. Then, cast your second skill ahead of them in case they are heading towards the escape route. Then, you can deal basic attacks to abuse the Calamity Reaper's true damage if ever you bought that item. Then, use your ultimate skill to further slow the enemy down. Then, spam your first skill to ensure their agonizing death. You can use Flame Shot if ever you have that spell to deal a finishing blow or to defend yourself from nearby enemies. Additional tip. I know that some of you are sad seeing Carmilla and Cecilion together. Fret not, you will find the love of your life soon. Or maybe not. The important thing is do what makes you happy, and stay awesome, not toxic, okay? When we see toxic humans, we report. The tips I mentioned are just some of the ways you can use Cecilion. This video just guides you on how to use Cecilion, the Kurumi way. We would like to thank the Lab Rat Squad for helping us on our experiments. You can search for them in-game and ask for skins, but for sure, they will block you if you do that. So, once again, this is Kurumi and that's how you use Cecilion. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to like and share this video. Also subscribe to our channel for more contents by clicking on the subscribe button. For our skin giveaway events, check the community tab on our YouTube channel. We have our Ko-fi account just in case you want to donate some coffee funds. Check our Ko-fi link on the description of this video. Please, only trust boot camps from our official accounts. See you on the next Mobile Legends Bootcamp. Cheers.